Happy Tuesday, everyone. We are live right here at Hayti Heritage Center, and it is the month of April. Hope everybody is still doing well out there with all the COVID-19 going on. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we are here celebrating National Poetry and Jazz Appreciation Month with our poet, Miss Lambitty. Y'all show your love for Lambitty. Virtual clapping, virtual clapping. And we have Mr. Zachary Gossett on the keys, celebrating Jazz Appreciation Month. So this is piano and a poet. So we're gonna kick things off with Mr. Zachary on the piano. Y'all show your love. Show your little virtual clapping for Mr. Zachary Gossett on the piano. And now we're going to turn it over to our featured poet, Miss Lambitty.
Fair housing has no smell, as it slowly intoxicates the impoverished, while they're wearing PJs in the PJs, sleeping blissfully through the night, nestling in their misfortune, using ovens like heaters and accidentally feeding carbon monoxide poisoning to their babies, a formula for disaster, a pacifier of a master slumlord exploiting the lifestyles of the poor and common because he's a Robin Leach, sucking the bloodline of his generational wealth but only sharing 8 sections with his subjects, who never learned that you get burned when you touch a cold stove, who haven't earned the luxury of living the American dream when coming home is a nightmare on Elm Street. Fair housing has no green space and parks and recreation for the poverty-stricken. It's built near train tracks and trash incinerators. The sound of the squeaking rails drowns out late-night gunshots. Noise pollution has no opt-out box to check. The smell of fast food camouflages nearby sewage plants, both attacking the body with toxic waste. Fair housing wears a liberal face and $1 million smile on her purse. Buying up foreclosures with an offer your grandmother can't afford or pass down to the next of kin. Fair housing doesn't begin until they gentrify a neighborhood near you. Cell phone towers standing tall as majesty and disguised as trees. High voltage power substations are the hottest thing on the block. And you wonder why the ghetto is so restless and so reckless. Redistricting in the spirit of new Jim Crow. Overpopulating inner city schools with black and brown children while white zones zen out on limitless resources, daring you to cross the line so they can redraw it around your dead body. Fair housing is rehabilitated and resold to former pill poppers. I guess their government assistance hits different. The high life is cleaner when you wear a white collar and sheep's clothing and kindly shepherd the people off their own land. There are rules in the playground of your local housing complex, eating deeds for dinner, and serving eviction notices like leftovers to tenants who can't afford legal representation anyway. Fair housing doesn't make a sound when it comes crashing down on its very foundation of inequity. Unlocking the deadbolt to your estate with a skeleton key that his white privilege brought behind closed doors, cutting you out the picture with a jagged edge and crooked intentions, asserting his housing authority with ruthless tactics and Bible belt lines. Biking trails that lead through the woods to a HUD home in the hood seems pretty fair to you, right? Even if your maximum wages can't afford the minimum down payment to buy back the home you grew up in, at least the lease will soften your resolve to learn the value of home ownership. That's called property management. Handpicking the Mr. Rogers type to be their neighbors, while rallying against the Jermaines, who are probably dope dealers if they could afford to stay here. So much for integration. When your crib walks like theirs do, embrace the vow of life, liberty, and the pursuit of real estate that our ancestors never knew. What's fair anyway? When they have a head start and a leg up that goes as high as castles and low as squatters' rights, shitting bricks if you play your hand in adverse possession to get a shelter that protects you against homelessness. Even fair isn't fair if your skin ain't, and your only knowledge of the law is how to avoid the police and evade your rent payment until the check clears. Fair housing is a contradiction. Too opaque to see through, but blunt enough to roll you up and smoke you like chronic. Strong enough to put a lien on your mortgage and a dip in your market value. What's fair anyway? When our great-greats were the property that tilled the land that master's children wears like hand-me-downs. When the plantation is an institution of unfairness, and the America we've known our whole lives feels no place like home. Thank you.
Yeah. Y'all show your love for K. Lambitty. Talking about that fair housing. Yeah. What's really fair, y'all? So, we're going to keep this thing rolling. Piano and a poet. Thank you for all those who are just joining in. And we're going to turn it back over to our featured piano player for this week. Y'all show your love for Mr. Zachary Gossett one more time. Virtual clapping for Mr. Zachary Gossett. And while we have you here for a moment, Zach, tell the folks a little bit about yourself if you would like, and who is your most influential jazz musician? Who's your favorite jazz musician?
It's a deep question. So I live in Durham. I went to the master's program at North Carolina Central.
Yeah.
Let's see. So probably my most influential favorite jazz musician would be Jason Moran.
Okay, cool.
Also Thelonious Monk, who I just played a couple of his tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what's up. Any others? That are not piano players?
Yeah. So Brian Blade, the drummer, he has a band called the Fellowship Band, and that's probably one of my favorite groups.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and of course, some of the classic, like Sonny Rollins records.
Okay.
Like The Bridge, that's a great record.
Cool. That's what's up. Sweet. Well, y'all show your love one more time for Mr. Zachary on piano. And we're going to turn it back over to Miss K. Lambitty. And Miss K. Lamb, while we have you here, who are some of your, you can tell people about yourself also, and who are some of your greatest poetry influences?
So I am a teacher full-time.
Yeah.
That's my day job. So don't judge me. I'll be back to virtual in a minute. And yes, teaching. Yes, I agree. Thank you, Zach. And what else? I don't know. I'm trying to think what to say about myself. And I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I perform all throughout the RDU. I've been slamming, writing, and performing for years.
Cool.
Absolutely love and enjoy the spoken word and the performing arts. Some of my favorite, of course, they're the late greats like Maya Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
And I have actually, Zora Neale Hurston is one of my all-time favorite authors, and she kind of dabs a little bit between poetry, short stories, and fiction. So I would have to say she has a big influence over me, and Octavia Butler because of the science fiction aspect kind of stimulates me and helps me write a little bit. So yes.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you both for joining us for Piano and a Poet and celebrating National Poetry and Jazz Appreciation Month. So we're going to get back into a little bit more poetry with Miss K. Lambert.
I think I'm going to share something new.
Yeah, new-ish. Yeah.
So this one is called Bound. It doesn't matter how you color it, or what rainbow you pour on my concrete wall, you must respect my boundaries. Don't trample the flowers you see piercing through the cracks with your careless graffiti, drawing the wrong conclusions and breaking stones but barely scratching the surface. My spiritual fortress is impregnable. Paradise is on the inside of me, but I'm aware of my introversion. Out of reach and out of touch, not tainted in the perversion of your fear-mongering. I won't let you in until I'm ready. So compromising the integrity of my perimeter for an elephant ride in the enchanted will raise the stakes of your danger. Shaded under cumulus clouds is lovely. How even the sky looks beautiful when it's healing, but the rare air behind my walls doesn't recognize your changing complexion. Your skin is like the elephant, so you should never forget that new paths are laid on worn ground, that the mountain on my horizon emerges from seeds I planted. Remember, my castle has several exit routes but one-way guest entry, so forgive me if I don't swoon for flowers. My earth is purging to restore the balance of the yang so we can flow within, like waterfalls in paradise. A pleasure when you begin to float the surface, but a danger when you tread the drop.
Yeah. Y'all show your love for K. Lambitty, virtual clapping. Now we're going to turn it back over to Mr. Zach Gossett. Show your love for Mrs. Zachary Gossett one more time. We're going to have one more poem by Miss K. Lambitty, and then we're going to put this thing together, piano and a poet, all right? Show your love for Miss K. Lambitty one more time.
All right. I'm going to share Raven. Nobody's looking for Raven. Nobody's searching for the beautiful blackbirds who fell from the DC skyline with broken wings like they're looking for Skylar, Holly, Katie. Nobody's wondering what happened to the city girls who didn't sweat the hot summers. Now Raven's a cold case. There are no missing posters with Raven's face or Jasmine's smile or Nyla's or Precious. We've wasted precious time, blaming her for being too grown or too loud or too fast to be abducted. We lost Hope and we lost Alexis, who loved fast cars and didn't heed the warning to slow down her big dreams for cheap thrills. We're ignoring the evidence that she was taken too. Maybe we'll pray for you, Raven. Maybe they prayed on you because brown eyes, thick thighs, and blue black box braids don't make the nightly news anyway. Not like it should. They'll call you a runaway, and we'll call off the search and bury our cause for concern like they'll bury you. Call it deja vu, but we'll lose deja to coincidence like we lost faith to circumstance. Trading her playground for a grave plot in our very own backyards, where diamonds are under so much pressure to shine that they're crushed by the weight of darkness, stuck between a rock and the hood. Sometimes our little girls voluntarily leave a hard place to live, and sometimes pedophiles go lurking for Nina, an easy target who never obeyed her curfew. That's what the police will say in their asinine negligence to look for clues. Another unsolved mystery in the database. It won't make the evening news like the missing and murdered children of Atlanta, Chicago, New Orleans. There's no evidence to prove that traffickers kidnapped Molly, Heather, Hannah in broad daylight, when white folks are still looking with a flashlight and fine-tooth comb like they're looking for parasites, perpetrators, predators who might take your baby, despite an ethnic neutral name like Jordan, Cameron, Gabrielle. Even if you're black, a candlelight vision won't bring her back, but due diligence might could. Raven had a chance to escape. Did the cops ever mention that? Were you paying attention when good girls went missing in Maryland suburbs, just like the bad girls get snatched up by angry mamas in Baltimore? Playing the waiting game before letting the public know about Keisha, because who could afford a private eye to search for her? She better bring her ass home or she'll never see the light of day again. Mama will swallow her words by the time Kiki swallows her last breath. Imminent danger will become her imminent death if we never find Raven. Serenity, destiny, we'll seal her fate in a pine box and deny responsibility when we never properly searched our souls for hope. Hope is gone now, but faith should be alive if we're on high alert for Amber. But we're already preparing Ebony's eulogy. Caitlin's on the carton of white milk because she didn't have black skin or red bones, while the remains of Maria were found in a milk crate because her loved ones were too afraid of being deported if they reported their daughter never made it home. But there's no missing outrage for missing brown girls either, dismissed as a lost cause, vanishing without warning, falling to the bottom of your news feed and satiating the hunger of stranger danger who eat little girls for breakfast. They should have been in school. That's what the authorities will say. Desensitizing the bystander to help the forgotten. The selfies, the live video feed of a girl near you going viral too fast and growing up too soon. Her last post was at 10 to 2. She was just 16, about 5'3", 125. It was a Thursday when one missing girl became one too many, and even when her Snapchat photo fades. Her memory will leave behind the scars of the broken race of humankind who point fingers and place blame and remain so fixated on color that we fail to remember how Raven was just somebody's sister, daughter, friend. She was somebody until they found some mutilated, unnamed body of another dead little girl.
Y'all show your love for Miss K. Lambitty one more time. Virtual clapping. And show your love for Mr. Zachary Gossett on piano. Thank you very much, sir. You have been tuning in to Piano and a Poet. And the way we usually end things with piano and a poet, we usually end with the piano and a poet. So we're going to end off like this with a duet between Mr. Zachary and Miss Lambitty. And we thank you for watching. If you would like to donate for our programming here at Hayti, feel free to visit hayti.org. You can also PayPal us and Venmo us. You see the virtual tip jar up there. So thank you guys so much. We only have one more piano and a poet, and that will be next Tuesday to end us out. So thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. And we're going to end with Zachary and Lambitty. Y'all show your love. And thank you for joining us with Piano and a Poet. Show your love. Virtual clapping one more time for Miss Lambitty and Mr. Zachary Gossett. Make sure you tune in for next week's Piano and a Poet next Tuesday at noon. And check out Behind the Scenes with Piano and a Poet that'll be coming out this week. So thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. Y'all have a great rest of the week. Peace.